The Smittybilt XRC Tailgate with tire carrier is for those of you that have a 2007 to 2018 JK that are looking for a way to be able to mount a larger and heavier than factory spare tire on the tailgate of your Jeep without running into any of the issues that would normally cause, and aren't interested in a bumper mounted tire carrier. This is going to be a fairly easy install. It is going to be a bolt-on installation, but there are a lot of little bits and pieces, so I'm going to go 2 out of 3 wrenches on this, but we are going to show you how to get this installed in just a second. So when you mount a bigger than factory spare tire in the factory spare tire location, the first issue you might run into is just space. The tire might hit on the bumper as you try and close the tailgate, and that of course is going to be a problem for you. But the big issue that you'll run into is additional weight. So that big, heavy, aftermarket spare tire can wear on a couple of different components, one being the hinges of your factory tailgate, so you have to lift up on the tailgate every time you open and close it. 2 being the tire carrier itself. The steel of that tire carrier is really only rated for a factory spare tire, and when you put that additional weight on there, especially if it's not tight up against the tailgate, you can get some moving and torquing around that can fatigue that steel and cause that to break down. And finally, the tailgate itself is really only designed for a factory spare tire, and the additional weight of that spare can start to break apart the welds on the tailgate itself. So a couple of different problems there, and there are a couple of different solutions. One is going to be completely remove the spare tire from the tailgate and put it on a bumper mounted tire carrier. If you're not interested in doing that, there are tub mounted tire carriers. And this is going to sort of fall into that category. So a lot of the tub mounted tire carriers will eliminate all of those issues by reinforcing the tailgate, changing out the tire carrier itself, and also changing out the hinges. This is going to do all of that, but it's also going to change out the entire tailgate piece. So not only are you just bolting something stronger onto the tailgate trying to alleviate the stress on the factory tailgate, you're swapping out the factory tailgate for something that's much, much stronger as a whole. So hinges, carrier, tailgate itself, everything is stronger, everything's really heavy duty, so you're going to be able to mount that big heavy spare on here without any of those issues. Now, because this does come with a tire carrier, again, I don't have all the bits and pieces on the table here just because there are quite a few of them, but as you can see from this piece over here, you're going to have some adjustability, both up, down, and in and out, which is really important because depending on the width of your tire and the back spacing of your wheel, you do want to get that tire nice and tight up against the tailgate, and that adjustability is going to allow for that to happen. So overall, I do like this kit. It's not going to be as, we'll say, subtle as some of the add-on tub-mounted tire carriers. A lot of those will just leave your factory tailgate. They are really designed to kind of just go in the background to fix those 3 problems that we talked about, but not completely change up the look of the Jeep. This is completely 180 from that, designed to completely change up the look of your Jeep from the back, give it that really rough and tumble look. And if that's what you're after, this is gonna be a really good choice for you. Now, this does come in at right around that $550 mark, which is pretty much where most of your high quality tub mounted and also bumper mounted tire carriers are going to come. Of course, there are some that are all over the price spectrum depending on quality and materials and things like that. But if you are looking for a tire carrier that's going to solve those 3 problems we talked about, I think this is going to do that very, very well. You're going to get the added benefit of the visual change from this, if that's something that you're after. And for all of that, I do think that the roughly $550 price tag is going to be a pretty fair one. So I mentioned before, this is a fairly simple installation, if not for having a lot of little bits and pieces that you need to bolt up. Now we're going to show you how to get it installed.
Tools used for this installation are as follows. You're going to need a good socket set along with Allen keys and Torx bit, a good set of wrenches, a few pairs of pliers, cutters, and crimpers, impact guns or ratchets, and a good dead blow hammer.
All right, now let's get started with the installation of our new tailgate. And to begin, well, we're gonna have to take our old one off the Jeep. And to do that, obviously, we have to remove our spare tire. So we're gonna get that out of the way. We're gonna get our old tire carrier off, get our tailgate and our factory hinges off of our Jeep. We're gonna get our old tailgate on the table next to the new one so we can transfer over a few parts like the handle and the latch on the inside. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, now just remove the covers from the inside of our tailgate so we can gain access to our wiring. Now we can just come inside here and unplug everything. And if you reach inside your tailgate, you'll feel this plug. This is for your locking mechanism inside your tailgate. We're just gonna unplug that. Now that all our wiring is disconnected, we can go ahead and get our door stop and our hinges disconnected and get this on the table so we can start transferring things over to our new tailgate. With a T30 Torx bit, we're gonna go ahead and get these out. Now after you get these covers off, you're gonna expose your hardware that's underneath of them to get your hinges off your tailgate. Now they're gonna be a 13mm socket. We're just gonna go ahead, put those off to the side. We're gonna use a 13mm on our impact gun. You can use a ratchet if need be, and I highly recommend getting the help of a friend to hold the tailgate while you take the hinges off. It just gets a little cumbersome trying to do it by yourself. All right, now I know this screw looks a little bit different than what you're used to, but just use a T30 Torx bit. Get these 3 screws out to get our latch out of our original tailgate. Disconnect a few rods from the inside. I'll show you how to get those disconnected once we actually get this out of our tailgate. It's a little hard to show you while it's still inside of it. Now inside of your door, these will be connected just like that. You're gonna have one on each end of 2 different rods. What you're gonna do is push this off to the side until it unclips and then slide the rod out of the front, and that's how you disconnect them. Next, we're gonna go ahead and get our lock and our handle out. Now to get our lock out is a small clip. You're gonna reach in, grab the edge of it, and just pull inward until the clip comes out. You'll see it has a little lip on the back of it. If you just slide that out, it'll disconnect the lock. You should be able to just pop it right out, like so. And you can see on the back of that is where the other clip for the rod is. You also want to make sure that that's all disconnected first. All right, next we're going to get our handle from the outside off of there, and do that. There's 2 8mm nuts on the inside. You'll see the 2 little studs sticking out. We'll just go ahead and get those off. Now the easiest way to get the 2 nuts out for our handle is if you reach in and pop these 2 plugs out and look straight down in the holes, you'll see the 2 8mm nuts. All right, now we're ready to go ahead and get our handle installed on our new tailgate. Slide it up and reinstall the factory hardware.
We're also ready to go ahead and get our lock installed. Now we're ready to install our latch onto our tailgate bracket. Let's go ahead and line the holes up, reinstall the factory hardware. Now, you're gonna wanna put a little bit of Loctite on this. I recommend blue, so that this never comes loose. And go ahead and tighten them down with your T30 Torx bit. All right, now we can go ahead and tighten this all down using a 2mm Allen key and the hardware supplied in the kit. Do not forget your flat washers and your lock washers. Now we can go ahead and get our rods reinstalled. Now remember, the longer one goes to your lock into your mechanism, while your shorter one goes from your handle to your mechanism. All right, now we're ready to get our hinges installed on our tailgate. We still got to get our factory hinges off of the body of our Jeep, but right now we're going to worry about our tailgate. Now you're going to find the two nut certs that go into your tailgate and just slide them in to the inside rails and line up the holes. Then we're going to find our hinges, line them up, and take our hardware bag that comes with our hinges, get them inserted. Now we're gonna get those just snug down, not completely tight, just snug down. Now we don't want them completely tight just yet, because we are going to have to go back and adjust them. Now with a T50 Torx bit on your ratchet or on your impact gun, we're going to remove our factory hinges from the body and replace them with the new ones. Now we're going to use the factory hardware to reinstall our new hinges. Now we can take our new hinge bracket, line it up using our factory hardware.
Now just go ahead and repeat that for your other hinge. All right, now we're ready to go ahead and start hanging our new tailgate on the back of our Jeep. Now, this has a little bit of weight to it. It is definitely a lot heavier duty than the original one. Take your time. I'm gonna do this by myself. I would say get a friend. All my friends are busy at the moment. Now, as you can see, we didn't put our hinge pins in yet. This is why I said don't tighten these up all the way, because we need to adjust them slightly to get our hinge pins in. Now it should open with no problem. It swings nicely. All right, now with our hinges connected and locked down, we can go ahead and start assembling the rest of our tailgate. We can get our tire carrier on, get the wires ran on the inside, get our inner cover back on, get everything connected, and we can tie this all up. Now, we gotta install these 4 covers on our tailgate. They're gonna go over each set of these bolts that just sit right here. Align the hole up and use the hardware supplied in the kit to lock them down into place. You're going to do that for all 4 of them. Next, we're going to install the center cover that goes on here, and you can see it says XRC in it. You're going to use 2 bolts that come in the kit. Don't forget to add in your lock washers and flat washers. And with our 8mm socket, we're going to go ahead and just tighten that down. Now we're ready to install the tire carrier bracket on our tailgate. And to do this, you're gonna have the 2 ends that have the extended rounded part and the label facing towards the handle. The parts that are just smooth and flat on this end, they go towards the hinge. Also, the side that goes towards the hinges will require the use of these spacers. Now when installing them, you're going to notice that there are 8 bolts and 4 of them are slightly longer. Those 4 go on the side closer to the hinge where the spacers are. And with a 13mm socket, just go ahead and tighten them down. Now, since our hinges are all tightened up, we can go ahead and get this cover on them. Just slides over, lining up the holes, and lock it in place with the supplied hardware in the kit. You're gonna tighten these down with an Allen head. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and get our mount bracket hooked to our carrier bracket. And then we're just gonna line up the holes where we like it. Depending on the size of your tire, you can adjust this for lower or higher. I'm gonna put it maybe about the midpoint. I'm gonna use one of the bolts supplied in the kit, line everything up. And I'm gonna slip our lock nut in the back. When installing these bolts, you want to keep them as spread out as possible, just for better weight transfer. Now with a 19mm wrench to hold your nut into place and using an 18mm socket, tighten down your bolt. All right, now we're ready to get the actual wheel bracket attached. Now you'll see that there's a lot of holes in here. Now this is for different lug patterns. What I did to find out which ones ours was, is I actually went over to our original one, slid this down over top of the studs to find out the pattern that we should use. This one is gonna be our single lug nut. These are gonna be our other two. Now to install this, and you don't want to forget your third brake light. To install that from the back of your carrier, just go ahead and drop it through the hole. And with one of the studs, line it up. All right, now we're ready to get this installed. Use your hardware that comes in the kit. Don't forget your flat washers and your lock nut. I'm just gonna slide that over, line it up with the hole we're gonna use. Get that started. I'm gonna get the rest of the hardware in before I tighten any of that down. And to tighten it all up, we're gonna use a 16mm socket and a 17mm wrench. Now that we have all of our parts installed and locked down into place, go ahead and open this back up and get our wires ran to our latch for our locking mechanism and for our third brake light.
Now using the factory hardware, we're gonna get our door stop reinstalled and use your T30 Torx bit to tighten it all down. All right, now we're ready to run our wiring through our tailgate. Now you'll see they supplied you with a few holes to pass your harness through and into your latch area so you can get your lock plugged in. Carefully, and you might need the help of a small screwdriver or pick just to help you get this all lined up. Now we're ready to install our cover that hides all of our lock mechanisms. I'm just going to use our small Allen head screws again. Now these are going to tighten up with your 2mm Allen key, but I actually advise getting them all installed before tightening them down. This way you can make sure it's all lined up first. Now we're gonna run our wires through our door, but personally what I like to do is take the little plug that comes in our door, we're gonna cut open the middle, that way this now becomes a grommet so it doesn't eat through our wires. So to do that, I'm just gonna take my knife, slice it down the side, so I get the whole center cut out. We'll come back over to our Jeep, we'll wrap it around the wire, so once we get the wire through the door, we push our plug back in. Now that keeps the metal from chafing through the wire. Now to wire up our third brake light, out of your vehicle, your white with the black line is gonna be your hot side for when you press your brake, the light comes on. The black one, well, the black one is your ground. Now if you come over to our new third brake light, the red is your hot, so your white with the black stripe is gonna attach to your red wire. Your white wire is going to be your ground, and your brown wire is going to be unneeded, because this light, you can also run it as a running light, but you don't really need that. You can run it as just your third brake light. That's all you really need. Now, with the use of a butt connector, now you can just take that, zip tie all your wires together nice and neat, and your installation's complete. All right, now we've reached the end of our installation, and I think this looks great on the back of our Jeep. Now you can go ahead and hang your tire on it and use a 19mm to tighten up your lug nuts that came with the kit. Now these are really nice, strong lug nuts. They're extended, they're extra long, they're threaded all the way through. Now for more parts and videos like these, make sure you visit us at ExtremeTerrain.com.